So let it be written, so let it be done. This is Tabletop Terrors, and today we're going to talk about something super important: finding your D&D group, the group of people that you're going to play RPGs with. So this video would be incomplete, I think, if we didn't cover some very general high-level tips to find other people, just the human beings to play with. But we're going to go a little later into finding the right people. But for starters, let's just talk about finding anyone to play D&D with, because when you're starting out, sometimes that's all you want. My thing is that look at how much time you spend online every day, the average person does. Sometimes it doesn't cross our minds that you can find people to play D&D with online. Or it seems weird because, a lot of times in pop culture or when we see like pictures of players gaming, it's a big table, it's in someone's house. Knock down those walls. My advice to find people is go to Facebook. There are tons of D&D groups on Facebook groups. Go to Roll20 has certain forums that are looking for groups, as well as Reddit. They actually have LFG or looking for group threads there. Now, that's very general information. Obviously, like anything else online, buyer beware. Like, you don't know who's on the other side of that terminal, so use caution, but it'll at least get you started, and don't be afraid to maybe roll some dice online.
Yeah, and I think the importance of the online addition to the sort of sphere of D&D has been huge in a lot of ways. For example, my gaming is exclusively online at this point for D&D. It's been years and years since I've had a consistent live group. And if you want a specific place online that I would recommend and that these guys would also recommend, it's the Absolute Tabletop official Facebook group. That's where I'm in. That's where I get all my games that I play in. These guys are in there as well, along with tons of other people. It kind of helps to avoid the problem that Tim mentioned of you don't really know what you're going to get when you get into an online group. But the people that play games regularly in the AbTap group are some of the just best people that I've ever gotten to work with in the gaming sphere. People are super welcoming, super kind, willing to pass along tips and to help people find what they're looking for. And that's, again, where I play basically all the games that I'm a part of. I found through that group specifically. So if you want somewhere to start looking, if you don't know where in all these forums to go, that would be my recommendation of where to start. And people would be more than happy to help guide you along once you're in the group to start finding people to play with and even just people to talk to, which can be sort of a great way to scope out who might be a best fit for your table as well.
Another thing that is really cool, because I've seen it kind of cropping up a little more often, is more and more places seem to have D&D groups, specifically game stores, comic book stores, and hobby stores. So you can definitely find people at those. In my experience, sometimes you will either hear about it, if you go on their Facebook page, there's one near us called Hobby Town. And on their Facebook page, they post about, hey, this day we're playing these. You might be able to just jump into one, an open group. Another thing is, if you go into one of these places, especially a gaming store, but like I said, even some bookstores, like even some big chain bookstores, anywhere that sells materials for RPGs and D&D, people are going to go there for those things. And so what I'll do is I'll talk to the owner or somebody that works there and just ask them, hey, are there any D&D groups you guys know of or RPG groups? And usually there is one, and you can either get in on it or they'll say, hey, I've a couple of guys asked me about that. Come in this day and we'll try and work something out. So this is another good option because, one, it's becoming a little more popular to be able to talk to a lot more people about RPGs, as well as, at least in our area, more stores that support things like that are cropping up. So with any luck, now is the easiest time than ever, an easier time than ever to find an in-person group if that's really what you're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. I saw a D&D shirt at Target, and I'm like, well, we're in the mainstream, baby. So
exactly.
So that is just general advice. That's how you find a person. That's how you find people. So now let's shift gears and let's talk about how do you find the right people and why is it important to find the right people? The thing that I will start off by saying is the advice that I'm about to give you is something you might have to learn a little bit over time, but if you know going in that you're trying to look at this, you'll, I think, get there quicker. And it's just try to get a sense for what you like. When you play an RPG, when you play D&D, do you love combat? Do you love pretending to be another character or like role playing? Do you love just some people like to just sit and be a part of the group while the game unfolds? There are a lot of different kinds of players. So as you start to play, and again, it can be a little bit chicken and egg, but if you know going in like, hey, let me just kind of keep in the back of my mind, what do I like about this session when I'm done with it? Maybe make a note like, oh, I really liked it when there was this or that. It can help you to know what you like, because I think it's really important to try to find people who like the same thing you like. So it's the same thing with your group of friends. You have someone who does like horror movies. You're going to think, oh, cool, I like horror movies. I'm going to go see horror movies with them. And you'll have a great time together. Total opposite if you try to drag people who don't like horror movies to a horror movie. And so that, I think, is my thought, is just start to see what you like about the game, and then try to find other people who like similar things in general. And that has helped me a lot.
Yeah, and I think it can even be useful to start thinking of like the sort of group composition on the player level in the same way that a lot of people will look at like the in-character party composition of a game, in the sense of like, generally you're going to want to have a fighter or someone who can soak up damage and get in there, and you want to have a wizard so you can have magical interaction, and a cleric so you can have healing, and a rogue so you can have the sneaky person, and kind of building up a party, in character, and kind of making sure you have the bases covered that you want to hit. You can start to do the same sort of thing with the actual like players that you interact with, in the sense of, once you know what you like, you may be able to contribute a certain thing to that overall experience, that'll help get you closer to that. But you may need other people to help get you the rest of the way. In fact, you will definitely need other people to get you the rest of the way. So I'll give an example. So somebody in my group that I play with very regularly is like extremely task focused when it comes to gaming. Like, they know what the plot of the game is, they know what we're trying to accomplish, and they're going to be go, 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 get the job done. Where another person is very like role play heavy. They want to talk to other characters and build meaningful relationships between the party members, and they're really good at that. But both of them like the other thing. So the guy who's very task focused likes good roleplay conversations, and the person who likes good roleplay conversations loves to follow the plot. It's just not necessarily where their mind goes first when they're taking action in the game. So if you can find kind of other people who cover some of the bases that you want to be in the game, you like it when it's there, but it's not necessarily your own strong suit. You can kind of find people who can cover those bases. Kind of funneling into what Tim mentioned of like, if you all like the same big picture experience, then you can all help contribute in your own best ways to make sure that you get what you want out of the game together, and help to set expectations, which I think is like the most important thing when it comes to this sort of thing, is say the sort of experience that you want to have, and then how can everybody help build up to that. And if you can do that, then you'll be set for life.
This is a little bit different than those two bits of advice, because it kind of works with both of them, and it's more just important things that you need to keep in mind. The big thing is, remember that you, in finding a group, will be becoming part of someone else's group. So in order to remain part of that group and have a good time, it's important to be a good player, as well as in general be a good person, to that group. Basically, if other people don't want you in their group, you're going to have a hard time finding a group. And there's kind of no easy way to get around that. Another important thing that I've learned specifically from coming from the world of playing a lot of board games is, in my opinion, I will kind of take what I can get in terms of what people like. I'm not necessarily saying you need to put up with poor behavior around the table, but specifically if people like, kind of a beer and pretzels, funny D&D game, and that's the group you have, in my opinion, it's better to play with them, that kind of funny thing that maybe is not your complete favorite, deep role play, but playing D&D is playing D&D, or board games in that case. The other thing is, if those people are also, good people and at least have some of the same interests, you can kind of trade off. If some people like a beer and pretzels, simple kind of game, we just want to fight stuff and have fun and laugh, maybe next session or next campaign, it'll be a little more serious, a little more role play focused, something else, so that everybody can kind of have a chance to play the thing they really love, but it is sort of a group effort to make sure that you play so that everybody gets a chance to have fun.
Yeah, and I think on the heels of that, something that is also, it could be a really cool journey, is find people that you already hang out with, that you already get along with, that you already have things in common with, and then learn D&D together. Or if you already know how to play, teach them D&D. The time is now in terms of it being accessible. And so I think that is also something that, at least for me, is probably one of the most memorable experiences of me like forming my D&D taste, was getting around a group of people we had no idea, and we just got the books and kind of went with it. So don't be afraid to do that either. And then you have the problem solved of like, well, hey, I really like these people and I trust them and I like hanging out with them. And then you just insert D&D on top of that. All right, so that is our top level tips on how to like actually find the right people for your D&D group or any RPG. And so for the comments, what are we missing? How did you find your group? And, what are the tips that you would give other people? Because we've all been there. You really want to play D&D and you don't have anybody to play it with. So that's what I want to hear about. What did we miss? And also, how did you find your group? We're Tabletop Terrors. We love fun, creativity, and RPGs. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, subscribe. And be sure to actually hit the like button. That helps a lot in terms of YouTube. And be sure to hit the notification bell so that you'll get notifications whenever we do release a video like this. So, how about we end it with a Tabtarian toast?
May you mend the first break.
May you kill the first snake.
And may you conquer everything you undertake.
I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I've always thought of the toast as being very specific to energy drinks. And I know, I don't even know if Jeff drinks energy drinks. I know he's a Pepsi Max vampire, that's for certain. But I see James, and he's not even holding a Pepsi. He's got a Coke Zero in his hand. And I just got a question, is change good? And then I think, yeah, it probably is. So you know what? Whatever you got, toast them if you got them.